Hey, this is Nicole Kelly, host of Disarming Disability. Thanks for listening to the following show on Public House Media.
In a world where everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and life as we know it revolves around social media. Here to humble down those social media addicts who believe in all things through the internet, it's time for a reality check. Hey, welcome back to Reality Check, giving your weekly dose of reality. This week, we have for you a very special guest, Emma Loney. She is a former model for Mac Duggal's Fabulousness, as well as a current pageant queen, Miss Wisconsin Earth for 2019 and 2020-21. Thank you so much for joining us today on Reality Check, Emma. And we have for you today, Emma Loney. Thanks so much, Emma.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you. Now, I'm a little bit of a fan, let me just say. I've known you for years, but I fangirl a little bit over the fact that you've had so many incredible experiences. Now, I heard that you were a model for Mac Duggal. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, you are so sweet, first of all. But I was actually able to win Mac Duggal's Face of Fabulous modeling contest in 2018. And that gave me just some really cool opportunities to walk in New York Fashion Week, model in the catalog, and just, get to do some cool things that I normally wouldn't have gotten to do.
Now, for those who are not in the modeling industry, don't know anything about it, what is typically the model sizing, the typical model height, weight? What is it kind of like?
So if you are not familiar with, how modeling has been for so many years, traditionally modeling focuses on, very thin women and very tall women, which I am neither. So recently, especially, brands have started to really, pick up more plus size modeling, include plus size lines in their clothing. And there's just really been a surge of plus size models in the industry. So it's really cool to kind of just be a part of that. I never thought I would have any kind of modeling opportunities, not only because of my size, but also because of my height. Because I am not 5'9". So both of those things were definitely, I never thought I'd be here. So it's been really cool.
Now, you also do a lot of philanthropic work and advocacy work for NEDA, am I right?
Yes, so I'm actually, doing a fundraiser as we speak. I started it today, and I've already, raised some money, but it's just, something I have been doing for the past 5 years. My sister was diagnosed with an eating disorder my freshman year of college and was hospitalized, which was extremely traumatic and something that not only I, but the rest of my family didn't really understand when it was happening. And I just really wish I would have known what I know now when she was diagnosed and hospitalized, so that I could have, been able to help better or just kind of understand what was going on. So now I just really want other people to have an idea of what eating disorders are and how to spot the signs. And just, I will work with them for as long as I possibly can.
So what exactly is NEDA for those who don't know exactly what it is, and how does it help those who are struggling with body dysmorphia or any of eating disorders?
So NEDA is a really amazing organization. They are the National Eating Disorder Association, and they provide helplines that people can text, call, whatever they need to do, email if they would like, and talk to somebody that is trained about eating disorders or is a therapist or psychologist, and have, just a support system there if they don't feel comfortable going to a parent or to somebody at school. And it's completely private. So that's an amazing resource. Many people know about a suicide hotline number, but this is kind of the same idea, but just with eating disorders and people that are struggling with eating disorders. Then additionally, they do a lot of work to help fund legislation and education for schools to introduce eating disorder curriculum, along with, implementing laws to help better protect people with eating disorders and help provide resources for them. So they're just a really big national organization that supports awareness for eating disorders.
So what have you done with NEDA? I know that you've done a lot of work with them, and you previously mentioned a fundraiser that you're currently doing with them, but what also have you done to support the organization?
So I have done walks, I've done fundraisers. I have spoken at schools in Wisconsin, where I am located, and you're located as well. Um, and I did this activity with my sorority. I brought a bunch of cards that I had everybody fill out and sent those to NEDA to have distributed to inpatient units around the United States to just give people a little bit of love and hope if they weren't getting it otherwise, just from a stranger, because I think that has a huge impact. So that was something we did. Along with that, I just, use my social media to really show inclusion and continue to talk about eating disorders, because especially during the pandemic, we really can't do a lot of in-person things. So I've been especially utilizing social media that way, along with doing fundraising right now, just through social media.
So you are a big social media influencer. As somebody who looks up to your social media and your social media aesthetic and ethics, and especially being someone who is a curvaceous model and that loves the skin that she's in, what advice would you give to someone that's looking through your social media that might be struggling with either an eating disorder, body dysmorphia, or just loving the skin that they're in?
So my social media has evolved over the years. I never thought I would get to where I am today. Like I said about modeling, but same for my social media. I think social media is a great outlet and a great tool for people to use to feel inspired and spread positivity, but not just my social media, but just social media in general. The first thing that really helped me when being on social media is not following accounts that made me feel bad, because I know it's so easy to follow a bunch of accounts where you are looking at someone you wish you could be, and if you follow a bunch of accounts like that, it can really negatively impact you. And I think it's something that people don't really talk about, but something we need to be aware of just for our own mental health, and that it's not that you feel like you don't think those people are awesome, but just to make sure you're keeping and taking care of yourself. For my social media, I try to share, really positive images that I think are going to be positive to people that look at them. But also remember that I am taking a bunch of pictures every time I take a photo. I am posing, I am color editing them, which color editing means that's not the lighting that I took the picture in. The lighting is still just kind of mediocre on my phone. And I have brightened it, I have saturated the color more. So there's just a lot that goes into it that, you don't see. So just comparing to one image is, not reality at all.
Also, I know that you're involved in pageants, and pageants, similarly to the modeling industry, a lot of people have stereotypes over. So being a previous model and current model, as well as a current pageant girl, beauty queen, whatever we want to call it, what are some stereotypes that you have experienced? What are some commentaries that you've experienced that have motivated you to continue this conversation?
When I first started competing in pageants, that was kind of my thing that I thought I could do. Since I didn't anticipate being able to model. And I've actually gotten a lot more positivity through pageantry than I have modeling. I've had some negative experiences modeling, much more so than I have in pageantry, honestly, which is not really talked about, in modeling, because people are trying to be so inclusive. But as far as, backlash in pageantry, I've seen it in scoring. I've seen it in other delegates, making comments towards me. And, just seeing it by, how I am just viewed as a whole as a competitor. Because when I walk into a competition, the first thing that runs through my mind is, am I going to be immediately discounted because of my size? And I think that's something that shouldn't be a factor that is considered when someone is competing in a pageant, as long as that person is healthy. So that's really what's continued my drive to continue to do this, to kind of just challenge that stereotype that, you know, you can be healthy and you can be strong and you can be an amazing title holder and not be a size 2 or a size 0.
And one of the things that I hear a lot, especially myself being in pageantry, is that when we say we're going on a diet, they immediately think, well, if you're thin, why are you going on a diet? You're just trying to get thinner. And I know plenty of times you and I have had conversations about nutrition and exercise. And a lot of people think that plus size models, that they're just simply not eating healthy, they're not exercising. What would you say to the people that like to say, you know, they get to eat whatever they want because they're a plus size model, or like they're not exercising, that's the reason why they're the size that they are?
Girl, I have heard that so many times, and it's one of the main arguments for plus size competitors or plus size models, that, oh, because they're plus size, they don't take care of themselves and they can just do whatever. The first thing to address is that plus size modeling still has like very tight, you know, parameters for what they're looking for in a model. You have to still be a specific size. For plus size modeling in most brands, they are looking for one size, and then anything, you know, above that or below that, they can't use. So that's the first thing. I actually had a girl at Atlanta Market say to me and the other plus size models, and she was a straight size model, she was like, wow, if I keep eating like this, I'm going to have to go up and upgrade to being a plus size model. I'm like, everybody was like, no, that's not how it works. So then as far as, you know, being a plus size person, plus size model, plus size pageant person, I and the majority of other women that do this are working out. We are eating healthy. We are planning our meals. We just have different bodies. And that's not to say that I'm eating the same as somebody that is a lot smaller than me, but I'm eating what is, and consulted with the doctor to be healthy for my body and for me as a person. And, you know, I work out 4 days a week usually, not always extensive exercise, but I'm always, you know, staying active. And I think it's extremely important, not just for physical health, but for mental health.
Now, the one question that I think is the only question that truly matters, what would you say to someone who's scrolling through social media and looking up to individual accounts and people that maybe don't look exactly like them, but they're aspiring to look like them, and they just have this low self-esteem and they're having a really hard time coming to the grips of the reality that they'll never look like that individual? What would you say to someone who is possibly struggling with those ideals or idealisms, as we should say, and do any advice for them at all?
The first and most important thing is to stop comparing yourself to other people. You need to focus on being the best that you can be by yourself, completely regardless of what other people are doing or what other people look like. Because if you feel good how you look and you're confident in what you're doing and you feel like you're taking care of yourself to the best of your ability, that is the most important thing. If you are struggling to even get to that point, you need to just, you know, have a conversation with yourself. Why do you feel this way? Is it other things? Is it your body? Is it, what is the actual thing that you're struggling the most with? And is it something that if you were to change, you would be happier with? Because I hear it so many times, you know, with people that are curvy and they go on crash diets and they like lose, and people that have even, you know, lost the weight and been whatever, but they lose the weight and they're still dissatisfied because their happiness was not indicative of their size. And they attributed all their unhappiness to what they looked like, when in actuality, that unhappiness was far more than just, you know, their body. So finding peace and finding happiness with yourself first, and then focusing on your outwards appearance second. Because if you're happy with everything else, there's a great chance that you will find happiness with what you look like as well.
Well, you truly are an inspiring woman for not only just this plus size community, women in general, but also for me, as you always have been for many, many years because of how long I've known you.
Oh.
But where can everyone and our viewers find you on social media for a source of inspiration or even for a shout out if they want to contact you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is pretty simple. It's at emma.loney, Loney, just my first and my last name with a dot in between. If you want to follow my title title holder account, it's Miss Wisconsin Earth. That's both on Instagram and Facebook. That's just my current title, as you know. But my personal Instagram is where I share a lot more personal things, more views, more body positivity stuff, really in the nitty gritty of what I like to do.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Emma, for joining us today on Reality Check.
Thank you so much, Kat. It's been such a good time.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in today on Reality Check and getting your weekly dose of reality. I'm Catherine Smith, your host. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you listening to Reality Check. For even more content, follow us on social media at Reality Check Blog. To stay more engaged and get your topics covered on Reality Check, or maybe even your story, using the hashtag Reality Check. Reality Check is an official production of Public House Media.